Okay, let's get started learning how to play a rock beat. Now, before we get into it, we call them rock beats because they come from rock and roll. Don't think if you're learning a rock beat, all you're going to be playing is rock and roll. Rock beats can be applied to endless styles of music. Okay, rock beat. What we want to first do is we're going to learn to play with our hands crossed over. If you're a left-handed drummer, you might like to play like everything I'm showing you this way. That's up to you to decide. Okay, now, first, just hit the bass drum by itself. Just do one hit on the bass drum, whether it's heel up, flat foot, whatever works for you. Okay. Now, if you are playing flat foot, have your entire foot on the foot plate of the pedal. If you're playing heel up, have your foot about 2/3 of the way up the pedal and come down on the ball of your foot. If you want the beat to stay against the skin, just go a bit further up the pedal, get more up on your toe, and that way the beater will stay against the skin. But as I said before, do try and let that beater bounce back unless you're purposely going for a dead sound, as opposed to more resonant sound out of the bass drum. Okay, now getting started with this. So you hit the bass drum once. Now let's hit the hi-hat, either with the tip of the stick or the shoulder of the stick, like that or like that. I advise that students first learn to play the hi-hat with a tight sound as opposed to a loose sound. The reason I say that, not because a tight sound is better, because it's not. They're both very useful and musical. It's a bit more difficult to control. So to do that, have your foot about 9/10 of the way up the pedal. Have your heel up and get the weight of your leg to push down onto your toes, which then helps close the hi-hats quite tightly. Not too tight, because you'll hurt your leg and it'll sound a bit silly. Just so it's this or that. But if you just want to do this, that's cool too. You work it out yourself. Okay, so what I want you to do is just do that. That's pretty easy. Now let's do it so it's the bass drum and hi-hat together. Try and avoid doing things like, or just try and make it relaxed so it's nice and comfortable. Now you want to hit the snare drum and the hi-hat together, like that. So you've got the bass drum with the hi-hat. Once that's comfortable, snare drum with hi-hat. There you go. Now we want to repeat that and just go like, doom, ka. So you get. Don't try and go, because that will sound ridiculous or look ridiculous and you're not going to get anywhere. Do it slowly at first. So you get. Once you've got it once, do it twice. Once you've done that a few times, you'll find you should be able to repeat it. And get into the habit of counting to 4 before you start. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the bass drum is on the counts of 1 and 3, which is 1, 3, 1, 3. And your snare drum is on the count of 2 and 4. 2, 4, 2, 4. And your hi-hats are on every count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each one of these 4 counts makes up what we call a bar, or a measure of time. And it's called 4/4 time, which means there's 4 pulses, 4 beats, 4 counts, whatever you want to call them, to every bar. Because the most important aspect of this instrument is keeping time. Not playing fast, not twirling sticks, not having lots of drums, not being cool. It's playing time and having a good sense of groove, which means playing things musically using dynamics on the drum set in a musical way, not just trying to play fast. Okay, that's a basic rock beat. We want to add more to that. With a rock beat, essentially it's the bass drum and the snare drum that's driving the beat, which then drives the music. And the hi-hat is the colour of that beat, just like the icing on a cake. Now, we're going to add more colour to this by putting more notes on the hi-hat. At the moment, these notes I'm playing are called either quarter notes or crotchets. And they're just the pulse you would feel in music. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like a bass player could go. They're still playing quarter notes or crotchets. Quarter note is the American name, crotchet is the British name. Okay, we're now going to play what we call eighth notes on the hi-hat, which are twice as many as the quarter notes. The beat will sound like this. To learn this, it's quite simple. What you need to do is first, we've been here before, play the bass drum with the hi-hat. Just once, and just to your own timing, no count required here, just do that. You know what that is now because you can play the other one. Then hit the hi-hat by itself. Brilliant. You do those two together, you have... Great. Try it again. Again, don't try and go fast, just do it slowly. Once you've got that, snare drum and hi-hat together. Then you've got three things you can do all together, which is... Try it again. Once you've got that, hit the hi-hat. That's the last thing you do. So it's bass drum with hi-hat, hi-hat, snare drum with hi-hat, hi-hat, which would be... There you go. Once you've got it, do it again. Try and do it twice. Once it starts getting comfortable, continue it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the notes I'm playing on the bass drum and snare drum are the quarter notes or the crotchets, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka. And the notes on the hi-hat are called eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Eighth note is the American name for these notes. There's 8 of them. There's 8 of these notes within the bar. So one of them equals an eighth of a bar. They're also known as quavers under the British name. I advise that you don't always learn to play this beat like 1 and 2 and 3 because it's going to sound which sounds very silly. Focus more on the bass drum and the snare drum. And, you know, once this is comfortable, put some music on, play along with it. Have fun with it. So that's a basic rock beat. Enjoy the practice which is coming your way.